Hello students, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you have seen all the previous 4 videos of this lecture, of this chapter calorimetry. If you have seen, good, then you will understand today's topic. And if you haven't seen, please go to all my previous lectures and then come to this video, then only you will understand. So today will be the numericals. Today we'll have to solve the numericals related to the chapter calorimetry. Numericals plays a very important role in this chapter. In the board, whatever questions comes from section B of this chapter are basically numericals only. So you won't find any direct question or any question will be given in the reasoning time. Those are 1 or 2 marks which are given in section A. But mostly a 4 marks question will definitely comes every year. It comes from the chapter calorimetry. So today's lecture is very important, and to understand what is today's topic, means today's the numericals that we will supposed to do, you have to see all the previous 4 videos, then only you will understand this today's lecture. So let's start with today's chapter. Now, in a numerical, in physics, when we are doing numericals, you have to put 1 or 2 things in your mind. Every numerical in physics is related to a particular formula. Now, after reading the question, you have to figure out that which formula should be used for this particular sum. So, in this chapter, we do not have, till the point where we have learned, we do not have many formulas. We have 3 or 4 formulas. So out of those 3 or 4 only, probably one will be used for this question. Now let's see this question. Firstly, we have to see the numbers. Something is given as 410 joule per kg per Kelvin. So as it is given, I'll write 400. See, there is a technique also how to solve a question. So you first see the numbers, 410 joule per kg per Kelvin. So you are writing 410 joule per kg per Kelvin. Now 410 joule per kg per Kelvin, what is this 410 joule per kg per Kelvin? It is nothing but the specific heat capacity of copper. So that is the specific. So 412 joule per kg per Kelvin is the specific heat capacity of water. So let's put it like C dash over here, because that makes a little more sense, because we have heat capacity which is denoted by capital C and specific heat capacity which is denoted by small c dash. So this I represent by small c dash, which is the specific heat capacity. Now what is specific heat capacity? I think you know every material has its own specific capacity, but I think by looking at this number we come to know whether the material can absorb the heat very fast or absorb the heat very slow. So its copper is 410 joule per kg per Kelvin. The mass of the copper is also given. Now you see 150 gram is the mass of that copper vessel. So of that copper vessel, the mass is given as, I'll write this as mass, is given as 150 gram. Now before doing the sum, we have to see 1 or 2 things. This is in gram, this is in kg. You know a gram cannot be equated to kg. A gram can be equated to a gram, or a kg can be equated to a kg. So it's better either to convert this thing into kg or this thing into gram. So I'll do the other. So what I will do, see, I will convert this gram into kg. That is better for me, because if I convert this kg into gram, this 400 kg into gram, the answer I will get in decimal point, and that will be again a problem. So I'll convert this gram into kg. How to convert 150 gram into kg? That is nothing but 150 by 1000 kg. So mass of that vessel is 150 kg. Now what they are asking? They are asking to calculate the heat capacity. So they are asking you to calculate the heat capacity, means C, capital C, you have to find it. Now how to get this heat capacity? This heat capacity, the mass and the specific heat capacity, all these 3 are related to a particular formula which I have taught you in the previous lectures. I have taught you. So over there I have taught you that heat capacity is equal to mass into specific heat capacity. So this is the formula that I have taught you in the previous lecture. So don't ask me right now, sir, how this formula came. You look at the previous lectures, you will find this formula. How this formula came also, I have explained that part to you. Now just use this formula. This mass is given as how much? 150 by 1000. 150 by 1000. And specific heat capacity is given as how much? 410. And you have to find the heat capacity, which is denoted by capital C. So the capital C is equal to how much? Cancel. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now 15 into 41, how much it will give? 615. 615 by 10, which is equal to 61.5. So capital C is 61.5. Now what will be the unit of this 60? What is the unit of heat capacity? Heat capacity has everything, not the kg, because I told you it depends on mass, so it will not have that per kg value. So it will be joule per Kelvin. It will be joule per Kelvin. This is the first part of the sum. I hope you understood this sum. Now we have to do the second part of the sum. How to do the second part of the sum? How much heat energy will be required to increase the temperature of the vessel in part A from 25 to 35? So we know, so how to do the second part, which is very much easy actually. Now from the part A only you have to do the sum with the specific heat capacity is given and the mass is given, and over there you just have to see this 25 to 35 degrees centigrade. What is this? That is the rise of temperature. That is delta T value. So delta T is from 25 to 35. And so what is the delta T over here? Higher value minus the lower value, which is 35 degrees centigrade minus 25 degrees centigrade, which is equal to 10 degrees centigrade. That is the value of delta T. And the question is what? How much heat energy is required? Means heat energy means what? What is the value of Q required? So we have to find the value of Q, because Q represents heat energy. So what is the formula for Q? I have taught you. It will be mc delta T. This is the formula. So M is how much? 150 by 1000. C value is how much? C value is 410. And delta T is how much? 10. Now cancel the 0. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And 15 into 41. If you solve it, it will give you 615. 15 into 41 gives you 615. Now what is this Q unit? That is what Q represents what? Heat. And the unit of heat is, we know from class 7 or class 8, it is joule. So the second question also, this is part B. And the previous one was part A. So we got the second part also. So I hope you understood this sum. Now let's go to the second sum. Now we come to the third sum of your book. The first sum you can do by yourself. That is why I am not doing to. So I have done the second sum. Now is the third sum. Third sum is also similar to the previous sum. Now first you see what? First you see this number 2 kg. And what is this 2 kg? Mass. So 2 kg is the mass. So solution. So you write mass as 2 kg. And the second thing you see what? This value 966 joule per Kelvin. What is this 966 joule per Kelvin? It is the heat capacity. So the heat capacity means what? You have to give what? C, capital C is equal to 966 joule per Kelvin. Now my first question is to calculate the heat energy required to increase the temperature warm it by 15 degrees centigrade and the specific capacity. Now in this sum, we have to do first the second part. We have to do the second part, and after that we will do the first part. So we will do the second part first. As I have done in the previous sum, how we have to get a relationship between the specific capacity and the heat energy. What is the relationship between both of them? The relationship is that heat capacity, which is capital C, is equal to mass into small c dash. So heat capacity is equal to mass into specific heat capacity. We have learned this formula. Now in the question, your heat capacity is given as how much? 966, because that is capital C, and your mass is given as 2 kg, and you have to find the, I'm doing the second part first, so I have to find the specific heat capacity, and specific heat capacity is denoted by small c dash. So small c dash becomes how much? 966 divided by 2, 966 divided by 2, and that gives you how much? 480, I think 483. If my calculation is right, 2 4s are 8, carry 1, 2 8s are 16, yes, 483. Now what will the unit of this? C dash, that is specific capacity. So the unit becomes joule per kg per Kelvin. Now I come back to my second question. This is the first part, this is the second part, and now I come back to the first part. What is the heat energy required to warm it by 15 degree? Now very important, warm it by 15 degree. By 15 degree means what? This 15 degree is not the initial temperature. This 15 degree is not the final temperature. This 15 degree is the increase of temperature, because if you read the statement properly, what it says, heat energy required to warm it by 15 degree, by, so it was 20 and it got to 35, so increased by how much? 15 degree. So this 15 degree actually gives you the value of increase of temperature, which is delta T. Now to do the first part, heat energy required. So heat energy means what? I have to get the value of Q. So Q is equal to mc delta T. Now over here C will be what? Heat capacity or specific capacity? Think. This C always denotes the specific heat capacity. So it will be mc dash delta T. Because I have to take this value. We don't take heat capacity. So mass of the body is 2 kg. Specific heat capacity, which we found from number 2, is equal to how much? 483. And this is how much? Delta T is 15. Now you have to multiply. 2 into 15 is 30. 30 into 4, 8. 30 into 483. If you solve it, how much the value comes? 3 3s are 9. 3 8s are 24. Carry 2. So this is the value of, this is the amount of heat energy required to heat it by 15 degrees centigrade. So one thing that you happen to know in this sum is this: when you see a question by 15 degree, that means they are giving the value of directly the delta T. And this formula is one of the important formula, a relationship between heat capacity and the specific heat capacity. Heat capacity is equal to mass into specific heat capacity. So you have to remember this formula, and you have to remember this formula. So see, I told you in the beginning of the lecture, every question or every numerical of physics is related to a particular formula. So you can see there are two formulas which are used. For the first part we use Q is equal to mc dash delta T, and for the second part we use these formulas. Heat capacity is equal to mass into specific capacity. So there are not much formulas in this chapter, but whatever formulas are there, 4 or 5 formulas, if I take the second part also, you have to remember the formulas. And I will say do more and more of numericals. If you do more of numericals, then you don't happen to, like, you remember the theory part by itself. So focus more on the numericals. Theory part you don't have to study, it will be coming to your head by its, you will be understanding the theory part by itself only. So I hope you understood this sum. Now, now we come to the fifth part of this sum, which is also quite easy. Now you see the first thing, 1300 joule. What is this 1300 joule? 1300 joule is what? First, when you see 1300, you write 1300 joule. But my question is, what is 1300 joule? See, you have to see the units. Units is what? Joule. Joule represents what? Joule represents energy, unit of energy. So what? That is the energy of heat. So joule represents what? Heat energy. So I will write 1300 joule as the value of Q is supplied to raise the temperature of 0.5 kg of lead. So what is this 0.5 kg also? What is this 0.5 kg? This 0.5 kg represents the mass, because kg is the unit of mass of lead from 20 to 40 degrees centigrade. So what is this 20 to 40 degrees centigrade? See, it is the T1 initial temperature 20 degrees centigrade, and finally it is going to 40 degrees centigrade. So delta T value I get it from here. Delta T will be T2 minus T1, which is equal to 40 degrees centigrade minus 20 degrees centigrade, which is equal to, so delta T value is 20 degrees centigrade, which I got it from here. So what they're asking me to find? They're asking me to find the value of specific heat capacity. They're asking me to find the value of this C dash, actually C dash, specific heat capacity. They're asking me to find. So I will use the formula. Which formula? I told you every sum in physics is related to a particular formula. So I'll use the formula Q is equal to mc delta T. Achha, this C over here, I'm not writing C dash actually. This C over here represents specific heat capacity, not the heat capacity. So this C is the specific capacity which I am required to find, not the heat. So I'll use this formula. So Q is equal to, now firstly before doing the sum, are all of them in SI unit? That part also you have to check. Joule is SI, kg is SI, and degree centigrade, that is also SI, because 20 degrees centigrade is equal to 20 Kelvin. 20 degrees centigrade is equal to 20 Kelvin. So that remains the same. So that doesn't matter. So okay, this delta T value, whether you get in centigrade or in Kelvin, that doesn't make any difference, because 1 degree rise in centigrade scale is equal to also 1 degree rise in the Kelvin scale. So this difference of 20 degree in centigrade scale is also difference of 20 Kelvin in the Kelvin scale. So that doesn't make any difference. So now Q will be how much? 1300. M is how much? 0.5. C is how much? I don't know, because I have to find that value. And delta T is how much? 20. Now 1300, if you multiply 0.5 by 20, how much you get? Think. 0.5 into 20, that will give you value of 10. When you multiply 0.5 into 20, you do that in a rough and you get that as 10. So after this 0 and this 0 cancel, so C becomes 1300. Sorry, 130. Now what will the unit? It is represents what? Specific heat capacity. So unit is what? Joule per kg per Kelvin. That is the unit of specific heat capacity. Joule per kg per Kelvin. I think you understood this part. Now we will go to the next sum. Now we come to the sixth question of this sum. Now see, the sixth question is a little bit of tricky question. Firstly, we just see the important things over here. Firstly, we see 50 kg. So what is 50 kg? 50 kg represents what? Mass. So 50 kg represents mass. So mass is equal to 50 kg. 50 kg of a material, any material, over here nothing specified, it can be iron, copper, anything, okay. 50 kg of a material that material has a specific heat capacity of 960 joule per kg per Kelvin. So you see the next part. Specific heat capacity of 960 joule per kg per Kelvin. So specific capacity means small c. Small c is 960 joule per kg per Kelvin. And it goes from 18 degrees centigrade to 38 degrees centigrade. It goes from 18 to 38. So means what? You have to get the delta T over here. So I am writing the delta T over here directly. 18 to 38. So initially 18, finally is becoming 38. So what is the increase? See, 38 minus 18. 38 minus 18 is how much? 20 degrees centigrade. That is the increase. So from these three values, I can get what? I can get the amount of heat required. Okay. So with this three value, amount of heat required I can get, which we will calculate. So amount of heat required is equal to MC delta T is equal to 50. C value is 960 and delta T is 20. Now you solve this thing. How much you get? 15 to 20 is 1000 and this is 960. It becomes how much? 96. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Q is equal to 96000 joule. So it will be 9,60,000 joule. Now after this, now you read the first line of the question. See, this amount of heat which is given to heat that material of 50 kg from 18 to 38. How we are giving the heat? Think how we are giving the heat. Are we giving the heat from our hand? No. We are giving the heat by using a kind of a heater. Every electrical heater has a power rating on it. Okay, power rating. If the power rating says 500 watts, means what? In 1 second, it can give 500 joule of heat. So, if 500 watt, so how much time will be required by that heater? I want to know to give this amount of heat. 500 watt means how much, you know? It is in 1 second. It gives 500 joule. 500 watt means in 1 second it gives 500 joule. So if 500 joules of heat is given in 1 second, then this much of heat is given in how much second? That part I have to calculate. So I will use a formula. This formula is taught to in class 8 or 9. Power is equal to energy by time. Power is equal to energy by time. This formula is taught to you. Energy by time or work done by time. So power is equal to work done by time, and we know work done energy represents the same thing. So power is equal to energy by time. So it will be heat energy by time. So now power is given as how much? 500. Energy is given how much? 960,000, and time is given as how much? I don't know. I have to find the time. Now if I solve this thing, how much I am getting the value of T? I am getting the value of T as 961,234 by 500. Cancel, cancel. How much are you getting T as? 5 ones are 5, carry 4, 5 nines are 45, carry 1, 1920 you are getting. This 1920 has what unit? See, all I am doing in SI unit. So this time will be also coming in SI unit. So the SI unit of time is of what? Second. So 500 watts in 500 joule can be given in 1 second. So this much of joule is given in this much of second. So time is equal to 1920 second. Now if we convert this into minute, so how will you convert? 1920 divided by 60. 1920 by 60. You have to convert this in minutes. So cancel, cancel. It becomes 32 minutes. If you cancel, 32 minutes is the answer. So it will the heater will require 32 minutes to heat the substance of mass 50 kg from 18 degree to 38 degree. So you have to, after you get the heat, just you have to apply this formula. because I require the time. So power is equal to energy by time. Power is already given in the question. Energy also given, also already I found it. So power, energy already I found it, and time stays. So when you solve it, time is equal to 1920 seconds, which is equal to 32 minutes. So I hope you understood this question. Now we will be doing this question, question number 7. Now this question number 7 also requires the previous formula. That previous formula what I taught you, power is equal to energy by time. This formula will be also utilized in this sum. Now go as per the question. The mass of the body is 4 kg. So I can write mass is equal to 4 kg. Now it has to go from a temperature of 10 degree to 15 degrees. So 10 to 15, that means what? That is what? Delta T, 10 to 15. So my delta T value is final minus initial. So that is 15 degrees centigrade minus 10 degrees centigrade, which is equal to 5 degrees centigrade. So that is the delta T value. And to make the body rise from 10 to 15, it will require some time, and that time is given over here. That time is given as 100 seconds. So time is equal to 100 seconds, and the power is given as 600 watt. Power is given 600 watt. Now I have to find two things: heat capacity and specific heat capacity. Now we will find the heat capacity later on. First we have to find the specific heat capacity. We have to find the second part first. So how to get the specific heat capacity of this whole thing? Firstly, see, power is given and time is given. By these two terms, power and time, what we can get? Think. Power and time can give you what? Power and time can give you the heat energy, because we happen to know a formula. Power is equal to energy by time. If I have power and also if I have time, I can easily find the amount of energy that is required. So I will just use it over here. So power is equal to 600. Energy I don't know, so energy I'll keep that as E. And time is given as 100. So energy becomes, so energy, how much energy I'm giving? 60,000 joule. So this is the amount of heat energy that is given for the rise of temperature. So this is the amount of heat energy. So energy is 60,000 joule. Means what? Actually I get the value of Q as 60,000 joule. Energy means for heat energy only. So that is I got as 60,000 joule. I hope you understood this part, 60,000 joule. Now I will get the specific heat capacity. How will I get? I will use this formula. Q is equal to MC delta T. And I have to find this value of C, because that is a specific heat capacity. Q already I found it. M given, delta T also I found it. So put the values. It will be 60,000. M is 4. C we don't know, and time is equal to 5. So over here, if I solve it, it becomes how much? C is equal to 60,000, and 4 into 5 is 20. So that will give you the value of C as 3000. So it will be specific heat capacity is 3000 joule per kg per Kelvin. So we got this specific heat capacity value as 3000. So we got the value of specific capacity. Now once we got the value of specific capacity, actually I should write over here C dash. Now I have to get the value of heat capacity, which I can easily find. Just multiply this by the mass, you will get the answer. So once I got the value of specific capacity, I can also get the value of heat capacity. How? Because we know heat capacity, which is represented by capital C, is equal to mass into specific capacity, which I have taught you in the first sum. So mass is given as how much? 4 kg, and specific capacity, just now we got it. It is how much? 3000. So it becomes how much? 12,000. 12,000 joule per Kelvin. So that is the value of heat capacity. So this value is 12,000. So I think you understood this sum question number 7 easily. So you have to just get the value of Q initially by the power and time, which is given to you, the power and time, this 6,600 and 100. You get the amount of heat required. Amount of heat, once you get the amount of heat required, now you can put the value Q, put the value of Q into Q is equal to MC delta T. So once you get the Q is equal to MC delta T, once you have this value, you have this value equal, you can also have this value. So how long it takes to find the value of C? You can get the value of C. And once you get the value of this C, you can get the value of this C also. Once you get the value of specific capacity, just multiply specific capacity by the mass, you can get the heat capacity also. So I hope you understood this sum. Now we come to the question number 8. Now this question from question number 8, see, sums are little difficult. I also understand from your point of view, but the only way how to solve this sum in the exam is by getting used to this sum. So you have to keep on practicing these sums by different numbers. Like at your home only, you can take this 0.5 as 0.6, take 30 as 40, take this 30 as 20, and you try this sum with different numbers, and that will only help you to improve in the numericals. Other than that, numericals are only the part of practice. How better you practice, that much you get good in the numericals. Now coming to this sum, a lemon squash means what? Lemon squash means a lemon juice only. It has a mass of 0.5 kg as been given in the question. 0.5 kg of lemon squash is placed at 30 degrees centigrade. Now after this, I'm just going to this part. Specific heat capacity of the squash is given as this much. So specific capacity means C is given as 4,200 joule per kg per Kelvin. This is the value of C given. Now see, right now the lemon squash is at a temperature of 30 degrees centigrade. Let's take that as T1 as 30 degrees centigrade. And I have to, now see, lemon squash we prefer to drink it cold. So what we'll do, we'll take the lemon juice, put that in the refrigerator, and refrigerator will do what? Refrigerator will extract heat from the lemon juice. And if the lemon juice, if heat goes away, the lemon juice will become cold, means what? The temperature will decrease. So the final temperature of the lemon juice should be how much? 5 degrees centigrade. So how much time it takes to cool the lemon squash to 5 degrees? So the final temperature is 5 degrees centigrade. So what is the difference of the temperature? Delta T. Delta T, always I told you, higher minus lower. So it will be 30 minus 5, which is equal to 25 degrees centigrade. This is the delta T. Now, so by these values, by this value, by this value, by this value, what I will come to know? How much heat needs to be extracted? How much heat I can extract from the lemon juice to bring it from 30 degree to 5 degree. So how much heat I need to take it? How much heat I require to take out? I can get it by this formula. Q is equal to mc delta T. This formula. M mass, C specific capacity, and delta T the difference in temperature. So put the values. This becomes how much? 0.5. Specific capacity given as 4,200 and delta T is given as 25. Now if you are supposedly multiplying see this 0.5 can be written as, when you multiply 0.5 by 4200, you get something like 2100 into 25. Now how much is 2100 into 25? 2100 and 25 gives you 52500. I think this is the value comes 21 and 25. I think this is the correct value. 525. So this amount of heat needs to be extracted out to get the lemon juice from this temperature to this temperature. So I need to extract this out. Now if I am taking this amount of heat out, it will require some time. It cannot like decrease the temperature and extract this amount of heat in just a fraction of a second. It never happens. So I need to find that time only. So that is the question, how long it will take to cool from 30 to 5. So how long it will take. So after this I will get to one small thing. See, average rate, I will get to this value. Heat can be removed at the average rate of 30 joule per second. Means what? You have to see over here technique. 30 joules of heat can be removed in 1 second. That is the part. Heat can be removed at average rate of 30 joules per second. So 30 joules of heat can be removed in 1 second. So this much amount of heat. 52500. So this much amount of heat will be removed, should be removed in how much second, that I have to know. So over there you just have to use a little bit of unitary method which were taught to you in junior classes. So rubbing this part. So see, 30 joule of heat can be removed in 1 second. So 1 joule of heat can be removed in how many seconds? 1 by 30 seconds. And this much amount of heat, 52500 joule of heat, can be removed in how many seconds? 1 by 30 into 52500 seconds. Just a unitary method. 30 joule in 1 second. So 1 joule will be 1 by 30 seconds. So 52500 joule will be 1 by 30 into 52500 seconds. So you cancel and you get something like 5 3 1s are 3, carry 2, 3 7s are 2150 seconds. So you get this much of second. So you require this much of time to remove the heat. Now you have to convert this second also in minute. So you have to convert this second into minute. So how you are supposed to convert this second into minute? Just divide by 60. So 1750 when divided by 60, how much you get? 0 0 the first cancel, so becomes 6 by 175. So 6 3s, I think 6 2s are 12, carry 5, and it becomes how much? 6 8s are, sorry, 6 9s are. 6 9s are 54, 1. So 29 and 1 by 6. So it becomes how much? 29 1 by 6 minutes. 29 1 by 6 minutes. And this 1 by 6 minutes can be converted into seconds. So 29 minutes and 1 by 6 minutes. What is 1 by 6 minutes? Think 1 by 6 minutes means what? 1 by 6 into 60 you do. That gives you 10 seconds. So it becomes 29 minutes and 10 seconds to remove this much of heat. Do you follow my point? So it requires 20. So just after that you got this time 1750 seconds. You just have to convert that into minutes. Divide by 60. When you divide by 60, this 1750 by 60, you get this as your answer. 29 1 by 6. So 29 minutes is there. Also 1 by 6 minutes. I think you know 1 by 6 means 1 by 6. And that 1 by 6 minutes is nothing but 10 seconds. So this is the answer. So it will require a little bit of practice. Once you practice this kind of sums once or twice, it will stuck to your head that how to approach these sums in the exam also. Not a very difficult, it's just a matter of practice. How better you practice put this sum. Okay, now we come to question number 9. Today's lecture is going to be a little lengthy because I am trying to do all the numericals from the book, because all the numericals are of different models. So it's not like that I will do one or two and you can do the rest of it. No, it won't be that scenario. So now look at this sum. A mass of a 50 gram certain metal of 150. Now firstly you see this. Now this is a different kind of sum compared to the previous sum. How? First you see this temperature 150 degrees centigrade. Once you see this temperature, what do you think? That body is hot or cold? That body is a hot body. So this metal which is at 150 degrees centigrade, that I will consider that as the hot body. Okay. And that metal, if you read the question, that certain metal at 150 degrees centigrade is immersed, is put in 100 gram of water at 11 degrees centigrade. Now looking at the water which is at 11 degrees centigrade, what do you think? That's a hot or a cold? That's a cold body. So I'll categorize this thing. One, I have a hot body which is the metal, and this cold body is the water. Now look at the mass. What are the mass given? The mass of the hot body is given as 50 gram. I'll consider this as M1, and mass of the cold body, which is the water, is given as 100 grams. Given 100 gram of water is 11 degrees centigrade. So mass of the cold body is given as 100 gram. Now the specific heat capacity of the metal is given. Now that part you have to find. Calculate the specific heat capacity of the metal. So this C, consider this as C1. So I don't know this value, so let's C1. Where the specific capacity of the cold body, C2 I'll consider. Is it given? Yes, it is given 4.2 joule per gram per Kelvin. So I'll write this as 4.2 joule per gram per Kelvin. So mass of the hot body and cold body given, specific heat capacity of the hot body not given, because that is only I need to find. Specific heat capacity of the cold body is given, that is water, 4.2 joule per gram per Kelvin. Now the temperature of the hot body given. Yes, temperature of the hot body given, which is at 150 degrees centigrade. And the temperature of the cold body given. Yes, you can see over here. The hot body is immersed in 100 gram of water at 11 degrees centigrade. So temperature of the cold body is given as 11 degree centigrade. So you know this. Now I need to find the final temperature. Oh, sorry, the final temperature is given. The final temperature is given as 20 degrees. So means what? This water is there at 11 degree, and that hot body, which is at 150, as I put, this hot body and the cold body will combine, and the resultant temperature, the final temperature, will be 11 degree. So the final temperature, let's consider as T, and both of them will be having the same final temperature, because the hot body, cold body, once they mixes, they become a single body, and that single body temperature is how much given? 20 degree centigrade, 20 degrees centigrade. So what is the delta T over here? Delta T1 I will consider. Delta T1 will be 150 minus 20. Higher minus lower. So higher minus lower will be how much? 130 degrees centigrade. That is the delta T1. And over here, delta T2. That is the, for the cold body, what is the difference of temperature? Temperature was initially at 11 degree. Now finally it became 20 degree. So delta T is 9 degrees centigrade, 20 minus 11. And for over here delta T, that is the, initially it is at 150 degrees centigrade, but as I put in the water, it became 20 degrees centigrade. So difference is 130. Now after this, I will use the principle of calorimetry. As I told to you, every sum in physics is related to some formula. So previously we have done the formulas Q is equal to mc delta T. Now we'll use over here principle of calorimetry. Principle of calorimetry. That is the first thing. What is the principle of calorimetry states? That the heat lost by hot body is equal to heat gained by cold body. That we know. Heat lost by the hot body is equal to heat gained by the cold body. Now what is the heat lost by the hot body? We'll use the formula M1 C1 delta T1, and what is the heat gained by the cold body is equal to M2 C2 delta T2. Now we'll put the values in this formula. M1 is how much? 50. C is how much? I don't know. Let that be C1. And delta T is how much? 130. M2 is how much? 100 gram. C2 is given as how much? 4.2. And delta T is over here how much? 9. Now a question can come in your mind that shouldn't we convert this gram into kg? No, over here you don't need to convert this 50 gram into kg or neither 100 gram into kg, because see, firstly your specific heat capacity is given in gram only. So if this is given in gram, so then the mass is also given in gram. So what is the problem? If this is given in kg and this is given in gram, then I need to convert. But since this is also in gram, this is also in gram, and this is also in gram, so I don't need to change, because all of them are in the same unit, gram, gram, gram. If you want, you can do 1000 and divide by 1000. Both of them will get cancelled also. 50 by 1000 and this 100 by 1000, and this 1000 and 1000 get cancelled. So no need to convert actually, because if all of the terms are given in the same unit, try to keep it in the same unit. Now from here, what is the value of C1? C1 is equal to, see, 100 into 4.2 into 9, and 50 and 130 will come down. So 50 and 130 will come down. When you will solve this thing, when you will solve the whole value, it will come as 0.5 something, 582 or something is given as the answer. Okay, so that will be coming as your final answer. So C1 is equal to 0.5, something will come, 0.5 after that, and the unit will be what? It will be joule per gram per Kelvin. So I don't know the exact value, but it will come something like 0.5. So you check it in your calculator, or you solve this thing, you will get the answer as 0.5, something is there, 82 or something is there, I don't remember, 892 or 29. But this will be the procedure how to do the sum. So don't worry, in the exam such difficult numbers will not come. In exams, numbers will be given in such a way that this whole thing get cancelled quite easily and you get a very good number in your exam. So but you should know what is the procedure. See, this sum is the first kind of sum there, and this kind of sum only comes for the exam. Heat lost by the hot body is equal to heat gained. So heat lost formula is what? mc delta T. Heat gained formula is also mc delta T. Since the masses are different, so I have taken m1, m2. Since the specific capacity are different, so I have taken C1, C2. Also, difference of temperatures are different. Over there 130, over there 9. So I have taken T1 and T2. You just equate it. Put the values and get the unknown term. C1 is the unknown term. I'll get the C1. So this is after you got this step. I think after this it is pure maths. How to find the value of x. So similarly, this question has to be done. So this is the first sum where you use principle of calorimetry. I hope you understood this sum. Okay. Now we come to question number 10. Okay, in question number 10 also we have to use the principle of calorimetry. That is, the heat lost is equal to the heat gained. But first of all, before doing the sum, we must get the data, like which is the hot body, which is the cold body, what is the mass of the hot body, what is the mass of the cold body, what is the specific heat capacity of the hot body, what is the specific heat capacity of the cold body. So all this data we have to gather first, and then we can apply the principle of calorimetry in this sum. So firstly we have to write something like hot body and we have to write cold body. Now let's first start reading the question. And as you read the question, first see what is the temperature. Over here it is written how much? 50 degrees centigrade. And over here one temperature is written as 18 degrees centigrade. Now tell me which is the higher temperature. 50 degrees is the higher temperature. So this is the hot body. So who is the hot body? Over here the water is the hot body. And 18 degrees centigrade is the lower temperature. So who is the colder body? Copper is the colder body. So it is just the opposite of the previous sum. In the previous sum, the copper was hot, the water was cold. In this sum, the water is hot and the copper is cold. So this hot body is nothing but the water and this cold body is nothing but the copper. Now what is the mass given for the hot body? Is given 45 gram. And what is the mass of the cold body given? Mass of the copper given as how much? 50 gram. If you look at the question, it is given 50 gram and 45 gram. Now, what is the specific heat capacity of copper given? C1, it is given 0.39 joule per gram per Kelvin. And specific capacity of the water given as 4.2 joule per gram per Kelvin. I think you understood this part. Now we come to this part, T1, that is the initial temperature of the hot body. Initial temperature of the hot body is given as 50 degrees centigrade and initial temperature of the cold body is given as 18 degrees centigrade. Now, final temperature is given? No. Final temperature we have to find. So the question is what? You have a water at 50 degrees centigrade and on the other side you have a copper which is at 18 degrees centigrade. Now the hot water and the cold copper, you mix it. You mix it. Given hot body of 45 gram, that is 50 degrees centigrade, and the cold body of copper at 18 degrees centigrade, you add it. The hot body and the cold body, you add it. When you add it and you stir it, you get a final temperature. The final temperature you don't know. So the final temperature you consider this as T. So final temperature you don't know. Let's consider this as final temperature. Final temperature you consider this as T. And over here also final temperature you consider this as T. So what is the delta T for the hot body? See, it is going from 50 to the temperature T. It starts from 50 and going to a temperature T. So what is the delta T over here? Can I say the delta T over here is how much? 50 minus T. This is the delta T for the hot body. That is the difference of temperature. T value we don't know, na? So we'll keep that as T. And what is the delta T for this cold body? Delta T2 for the cold body. It is the final minus initial. So it's higher minus lower. So we know this final see, this is the cold body temperature will, what happen? The cold body's temperature will increase. So from 18, it will go to some higher temperature, which we don't know. So that will be, so the difference will be T minus 18, not 18 minus T. So delta T will be, this will be T minus 18. Whereas over here for the hot body, it was at 50. As we mix with the cold body, the temperature will decrease. So it will be 50 minus the T temperature, 50 minus T. But for the cold body, which was at 18, 18 will go to a higher temperature. So it will be T minus 18, higher minus lower. And for the hot body, it is higher minus lower, so 50 minus T. That is why 50 minus T and over here T minus 18. Now after this, what we'll do? According to the law of calorimetry, heat lost by hot body is equal to heat gained by cold body. So heat lost by hot body is equal to heat gained by cold body. So what is the heat lost? We'll use the formula M1 C1 delta T1 is equal to M2 C2 delta T2. So we know this formula. So that is the heat lost by the hot body. It is the heat gained by the cold bodies. Okay, now you put the values. This will come as 45. This C will come as 0.39 and this delta T will come as 50 minus t, and over here m2 value is given as 50. This c value is given as, okay, I think I made a mistake, small mistake I made. The mistake is, for the water is the hot body, so this c value will be 0. So this value will be 4.2 and this value will be 0.39. So this value will be 4.2 and this value will be cold body copper 50 grams 0.39 into T minus 18. Okay, so you have to now solve it. Now how to solve it? 45 into 42, that will give you a value of 189. So when you multiply these two, 189 into 50 minus T, and when you multiply these two value 50 into 0.39, you get a value of 19.5 into T minus 18. So you multiply this into this and multiply this into this. Now what you do after this? You solve it further. So what is 189 into 50? 189 into 50 will give you 9450 minus 189t. So when you multiply this into this, 9450 into 189t. And when you multiply 195 into t, it is 19.5t, and 19.5 into 18, that will give you 351. Okay, so it is like a difficult, this is just pure maths. This into this, this into this. Now after this I have to rub this part, otherwise I cannot solve it. Now you see, you bring the numbers together and the t's together. So it will be 9450, and this 351 minus 351 comes this side, plus 351 is equal to 19.5 t, and this value goes that side, 189 t. Now when you add this to value 501, I think this value comes, no, 15518 9801. So it will, and when you multiply it becomes 208.5 t. Now your t value is how much? 9801 divided by 205.8. When you will solve it, when you solve this whole thing, it will come as 47 degrees centigrade. So this is the final temperature. It comes as 45 degrees centigrade. So 50 degrees centigrade is the temperature of water, that goes to 47, and the copper, which was at 18 degree, rises to 47. You solve this thing and you will come as 47. So this is a bit of mathematics. Once you get this step, after this you just put the values, all these values, and after that is mathematics part. Mathematics, you solve it and get the answer. See, in the exam you don't worry, this kind of numbers are not going to come. The numbers will be some good numbers where you can calculate, cancel and get a very good answer quite easily. But for the practice, for the book, you just have to go. So today I will do till question number 10 only, because the video is becoming very big. Tomorrow I will do question number 11, 12 and 13. So I don't think one day you can do so many sums, or you to remember also, na. So I have just confined myself to question number 10. Tomorrow question number 11, 12, 13 and 1 or 2 questions from the examples also I will take and do it. And then we will start with the second part of the chapter, which is the latent heat. I hope you study what I am teaching every day. I am posting one videos every day, and so that in the morning when you wake up you get the video, so and you learn and watch the video and practice this chapter. This chapter carries about 10 to 12 marks in the exam. So it seems a little hard because the numericals are like that only, but if you practice the numericals it will come easily. So I request to all of you, please practice the sums of this chapter. In the exams this will be so much useful. So I hope you, so I'll keep my video till here only. So if you happen to like my video, enjoy my video, please like the video, and if you have any doubts, please write in the comment section. And if you want to get the notification of the next video, please do subscribe if you haven't till now. So anyways, take care, good night, bye bye.